सुभान अल्लाह, आपको ये जानकर बहुत खुशी होगी कि ये दो मुखर्रिर जो आपने अभी सुने वो पहली बार ज़िंदगी में पहली बार स्पीच दे रहे थे। सुभान अल्लाह। तो अल्लाह का बहुत बड़ा करम है कि हमारी कौम में कोई भी आकर ठहर के अपने हक का बयान कर सकता है। अब मैं दावत देता हूँ शिराज मोहम्मद खान से कि वो आएँ और मुखातिब करें।
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين ثم الصلاة والسلام على إمام الأولياء الكاملين وعلى آلهما وأصحابهما وأزواجهما وذرياتهما أجمعين الراشدين الصالحين أما بعد فقال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد بعد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقل جاء الحق وزهق الباطل إن الباطل كان زهوقا صدق الله المولانا العظيم. Dear Peter Murshid, Hazrat Abu Fatah Sayyad Nusrat Sahab Qiblat Sharifullahi, my dear elders, brothers and sisters in faith, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'd like to begin by saying that the previous speaker, especially Sayyid Khunmir, I've known him personally. MashaAllah, I would like to say Mubarak to his parents, whether they're here or not. I've known this brother for some time, and this was, again, his first time speaking. Very much a true Mahdavi at heart. And the next speaker, Riyaz Khan Sahab, Rahim Khan Sahab, mashallah, very heartfelt speech, heartfelt speech, and I hope my speech will do justice to follow yours, both of yours. I just wanted to start with the words of Imamuna Mahdi Salam, and this is Mahdi Salam's letter to the kings. Just a brief part of that letter. Imamuna Mahdi Salam says, O mankind, understand this well, that I am Muhammad, son of Abdullah, and the namesake of Muhammad, the messenger of Allah. Allah has made me the seal of Vilayat-e-Muhammadi, the Muhammadan sainthood, and the Khalif of the Prophet's august followers, Ummah. I am he who had been promised to be sent during the last era. I am he about whom the Prophet had given advance information. I am he who has been mentioned in the sacred books of the earlier prophets. I am he who had been described by groups of the first and the last. I am he who has been bestowed with the caliphate, the Khalifa of Allah. I am he who invites the people created by Allah to come to Allah by the bidding of his prophets. And Mahdi Salam ends his letters with the words that state, this advice is for those who listen with understanding. And the beginning of the letter, even though he's writing to Muslim kings, his address is, O mankind. And if the letter goes on, I just took a brief part of it. But as you can see, Mahdi Salam stood tall in all of the prophecies of the Mahdi. And he has answered all of those prophecies. And this is a letter that I found in a beautiful book, Al-Qawl al-Mahmud, which is an introduction to the Mahdaviya beliefs. I encourage all of the young children present here, if you want to begin learning about Mahdaviya, start with this book, Al-Qawl al-Mahmud. It is a beautiful introduction to Mahdaviya. So, Mahdi Maud salam had answered all those prophecies and explained how he's guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and meets those prophecies. And it is up to us, the onus is on us to pick up these books, learn of these facts, and propagate the message of Mahdi Ma'ud alayhi salawatu wassalam. And as I had said in the previous discussion, that this propagation starts at home. Charity starts at home. We need to start with ta'aleem of our young right here in the MAHDAVIA home. Again, I invite everyone to learn the teachings of Mahdi Ma'ud alayhi salawatu wassalam. If you look at the current situation in Islam, even before that, if you look at religions tend to be extreme. Islam is a religion of moderation. It finds the middle ground. It is neither right-wing or left-wing, right-wing conservative or left-wing liberal, but rather it is a middle ground. If you look at Shariat, it is a middle way, it is moderate. But the interpretations of Shariat are what make it extreme. Some people would take an extreme approach to Shariat and they forget the other commandments that Shariat brings, and therefore they become extreme because they are leaving behind a huge chunk of the body of Shariat. But if you were to follow Shariat to its core, you will end up in the middle, in a moderate way. You will be a moderate Mahdi, or moderate Muslim. So likewise, the Islam today, we have extremely conservative Mahdis, Muslims, extremely liberal Muslims. We have the Muslims that we call the Zahiri, the man who emphasize the outward, and we have Muslims that emphasize the inward, the batin. And then we have Mahdi Ma'ud alayhi salawatu wassalam's message that is, of course, the middle ground. It is the message that fits the bill when it comes to the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is not outward in its approach, it is not inward in its approach, but it finds the middle ground. Mahdi Ma'ud alayhi salawatu wassalam taught us the haqa'iq, the haqiqat, but he did emphasize Shariat as well. If you, again, as I mentioned, Shariat is designed to push you towards moderation. And Mahdi Ma'ud alayhi salawatu wassalam emphasized Shariat, and while giving the precepts of Shariat, he taught us the precepts of haqiqat, of ihsan. This makes him follow Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the T. And if I were to continue on my discussion, Mahdi Ma'ud alayhi salatu wassalam's teachings are to raise you to Allah's presence. That is the ultimate goal, is the vision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you look at the faraiz of wilayat, all of them are actions. We tend not to focus on them as actions, but if you look at talab didar, it is having a deep desire. Tark dunya, it is renouncing. Look at, these are all actions, verbs. Renouncing, hijrat az-watan, migrating. Sohbat sadiqeen, keeping the company of the sadiqeen. Zikr dwam, remembering. Uzlat khalq, retreating or secluding yourself from the rest. Tawakkul, having complete trust. Ushur, if you want to add ushur, it is donating, doing charity, donating 1/10 of your wealth. So all of these are actions. People tend to look at faraiz al-wilayat as something that will come in their later life. But I beg to differ. I say that, of course, if we do not do tark dunya, we do not reach the muqam of the tariq al-dunya. But in our working life, we could start observing these things. We could be in this world and not be of this world. We could be in this world, work, yet we could keep company of the murshideen, of the fuqara, and have sohbat sadiqeen. We could emphasize zikr dawam in our daily life, and so on and so forth. So we could follow these tenets without having to follow tark dunya, with the goal of doing tark dunya in our life at some stage. If I were to continue, there's a beautiful nakhl that is very prominent for our time. And of course, I want to make my speech very brief because I want to give Peter Murshid enough time. It's a working day, as he will tell you in a few minutes. There's a Naqal Sharif where Hazrat Bandagi Meeran Sayyid Muhammad Sani Mahdi Razillah Ta'ala Anhu has quoted Imamuna Mahdi Mawd al-Islam as saying, religion would abate in the last era. Both parties to the debate would be ignorant. The believers, the mu'mineen, should be steadfast at that time. The ignoramus of one group would exaggerate in the meaning of batin, while the ignoramus of another group will discuss in the manifest matters, the outward matters. Both of them would not get any share in it. So we are seeing this clearly in our time. Islam is seeing a manifest, there's manifest versions of Islam where people are emphasizing just the outward shell, just emphasizing actions, and there's no spirituality. And on the flip side, we have people who emphasize spirituality so much so that they do not even want to follow the Faraiz and Nabuwat properly. So if you look at this Naqal, it is very much appropriate for our time, and Allahu Alam, going forward, it will become even more appropriate to look at these words of Imamuna Mahdi Mawd alayhi salatu wasalam. And sometimes, again, I want to encourage the young people here to look into our books. And this Naqal Sharif that I found, it's an interesting story if I may share with you guys. I was thinking to myself, Mahdi Mawd, like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam prophesied everything that was to happen all the way to till the day of Qiyamah, did Mahdi Mawd sallallahu alaihi wasallam prophesize things that were to come? Then I picked up Naqliyat Mi Abdul Rashid and I opened it. Just opened the middle of the book. And right there, this is Naql 90, that's the first one that I read. And I was just blown away. So, there's signs for the believers. And I want all of the young people that are sitting here just to kind of give the taste of attaining knowledge. There's knowledge of the books, and then there's the knowledge of the sohbat. There's the knowledge of the books, and then there's the knowledge of the sohbat. The knowledge of the books does not compare with the knowledge of the sohbat. If you come to the murshid, if you come to the ulama that we have, you will attain both. You will attain both, inshallah. And with that brief discussion, I'd like to allow for Peter Murshid to speak, and I'd like to end my speech here. I just want to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that on this blessed occasion, that may He guide us to the best of ways. May we be people of actions and not just words. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen.